Jack Ryan. Smart, courageous, dedicated, hot. Who said that? An American hero? You know, all the normal responses. With Jack Ryan, Ghost War just around the corner, we wanted to make sure we, and you, are fully up to speed before everything goes down in June. Whether you've been keeping up with the show, or just need a refresher, or the idea of watching 4 full seasons before the movie comes out feels a little bit overwhelming, here's everything you need to know about Jack Ryan before Ghost War in 10 minutes. Now, for obvious reasons, there will be a lot of spoilers in the next 10 minutes, so if you haven't watched the show yet and still want to experience it for yourself, this is your last warning. After this, it's out of our hands. Still here? Okay, let's get into it. In Season 1, we're introduced to Jack Ryan, a CIA analyst who has a sharp eye for details. At this point in career, Jack is most comfortable behind a desk. It's something of an office job, if you will. But everything changes when Jack discovers a series of suspicious transactions coming from Yemen. What looks like routine financial activity quickly becomes something much bigger. Jack brings the information to his boss Jim Greer, ironic, and together they trace the money back to a man named Solomon, a high-level CIA target connected to a sarin gas attack that killed 300 people and an assassination attempt against the US president. With Greer's advice and pressure, Jack is forced out of the comfort of his CIA office job and into the field. Their mission is clear. Follow the money, find Solomon, and stop whatever he's planning before it becomes another major attack. With everything set in motion, Jack heads to Yemen to interrogate 2 of Solomon's suspected accomplices who are currently in custody. But the mission quickly takes a dangerous turn. Jack later realizes that one of the men they are interrogating is actually Solomon himself. Before Jack can fully understand what is happening, Solomon manages to escape in the middle of a violent attack on the compound, disappearing before anyone can stop him. From there, the season becomes a race to find Solomon before he can carry out his next move. Jack and the CIA shift their focus to Solomon's wife, Hanin. She currently resides in Turkey, trying to escape the violence surrounding her husband. Jack and the team manage to escape with Hanin and bring her back to the US, where they question her about her husband and his future plans. Hanin agrees to help, but only under one condition. Jack must retrieve her son and bring him safely back to the United States. After Hanin's son is rescued, Jack finally gets the information he needs to track down Solomon. Their final confrontation takes place in a sports stadium, where Solomon's larger plan begins to come into focus. Time to play ball. Jack uses the fact that Hanin and her son are safe to draw Solomon in, forcing him into a chase through a crowded walkway. In the end, Ryan manages to kill Solomon and take his phone, giving the CIA a crucial look into the full scope of Solomon's operations. With Solomon stopped, the immediate threat is over, with the season showing how much Jack has changed. Ryan is named head of the Terror Finance and Arms Division, also known as TFAD. Before Greer leaves, he gives Jack one final surprise, a file containing a ticket to Russia. And with that, Season 1 closes by setting up a brand new battleground for Season 2. Season 2 brings in all new operatives, whole new dangers, and even greater challenges for Jack Ryan to face. With his mission in Yemen completed, we catch up with Jack keeping an eye on Venezuela, where Gloria Bonalde is running for president against the current president, Nicolas Reyes. Oh, and remember that ticket to Russia Greer left behind at the end of Season 1? Well, that thread carries over here, as Jack begins to suspect that Russia may be shipping weapons into Venezuela. Of course, once in Venezuela, when Ryan confronts Reyes, Reyes denies having any kind of deal whatsoever and tells him off. While in Venezuela, Jack reconnects with Jim Greer, who has been following a similar lead involving shipping containers coming in from Russia. The plot thickens when Jack gets caught in an attack that ultimately kills US Senator Jim Moreno, a close friend and mentor. Suddenly, all eyes are on Venezuela, and Jack is standing right in the middle of the storm. It's here that we meet a few new players who will be joining Jack in his fight to take down the bad guys. First up is Lee Klein, aka Harriet Baumann, a German intelligence officer and former associate of Max Schenkel, a dangerous assassin who quickly becomes one of Jack's biggest threats this season. With new information and a voice recording involving one of Reyes' closest confidants, Jack starts pushing deeper into both Reyes' political circle and Moreno's world back home. After a brutal confrontation with Max, Jack and Jim attempt to stay hidden, but things get even more complicated when we learn that Jim has been dealing with a serious heart condition. Undeterred, Jack heads to London to follow his next lead, and that's where he gets an intense rematch with Max. Just when it seems like Jack might finally get the answers he came for, Harriet appears and kills Max before he can reveal the information Jack needs, because, of course, nothing in Jack Ryan's world can ever be that easy. From there, the season only gets bigger. What started as a question about weapons shipment turns into a full-blown conspiracy. By the end, Jack is not just trying to stop Reyes, he's trying to uncover who really benefited from the chaos in Venezuela, and the answer may be much closer to home than he ever expected. On to Season 3! Season 3 takes Jack Ryan into full Cold War thriller territory. After dealing with Yemen in Season 1 and Venezuela in Season 2, Jack's next mission sends him across Europe as he uncovers a secret Russian plot that could push the world into World War III. The season begins with Jack investigating something called the Sokol Project, an old Soviet-era operation that was supposedly shut down decades ago. But Jack discovers that the Sokol Project may not be as dead as he thought, and this time it involves an untraceable nuclear weapon that could be used to frame the West and reignite the war between Russia and NATO. Naturally, things go sideways almost immediately. Jack's operation to recover intel from a Russian ship falls apart, and before he can fully prove what he's found, he is blamed for the chaos. Suddenly, Jack is not just chasing a conspiracy. He's a fugitive, wanted both by the CIA and the people actually behind the plot. Things just got a whole lot more complicated. With the agency no longer sure they can trust him, Jack goes off the grid with the help from Mike November and eventually reconnects with Greer. Together, they follow the trail through Europe, uncovering a faction of Soviet loyalists who want to rebuild Russian power by forcing a confrontation with the United States. Jack eventually realizes that the plan is to use the weapons to create a false flag attack, making it look like NATO or the United States is responsible. With this information, he and Mike manage to stop the nuclear device before it can destroy its target. One part done, but they're far from out of the weeds. The final move happens at sea, where a rogue Russian destroyer prepares to fire on the USS Roosevelt. If either side pulls the trigger, the world could be looking at a full-scale war. Jack works from the American side, while Luka Goncharov, a veteran Russian intelligence officer with his own guilt from the original Sokol cover-up, boards the Russian ship to stop the attack from within. Both armies rest on a knife's edge, with millions of lives in the balance. With moments to spare, the ships stand down, the war is prevented, and Jack is cleared. But Season 3 also leaves him in a very different position. Having proven that he'll break the rules if the system gets in his way, Jack sets himself on a path that will change his life forever. It all comes down to this. Season 4 brings Jack Ryan into what might be his most dangerous fight yet. Because this time, the threat is not just overseas, it's inside the very system he has spent his entire life trying to protect. After the events of Season 3, Jack is now serving as the CIA's acting deputy director, while Elizabeth Wright is stepping into the role of acting director. Together, they are trying to clean up the mess left behind by the former department leads. But while digging into Miller's old operations, Jack discovers a series of off-the-books Black Ops missions that were hidden from the rest of the agency. Those hidden ops connect him to Domingo Chavez, a dangerous CIA operative. At first, Chavez looks like a threat, but Jack quickly realizes he's another piece of a much bigger conspiracy. That conspiracy leads to the Silver Lotus Triad, a powerful criminal organization working alongside cartel forces. Their goal? The convergence of a cartel with a terrorist organization, creating a global network that can move people, weapons, bombs, and money across borders, all without anyone knowing who's really in control. With millions of lives at risk, once again, Jack, Greer, Mike, and Chavez begin chasing the operation from the halls of Washington to Myanmar. Along the way, they connect with Chow Pha, a high-ranking member of the Triad who wants out. But as always, nothing goes smoothly. Chow Pha is killed, Mike is injured, and Jack is captured in Myanmar. This ultimately brings the season full circle to the torture scene teased at the very beginning, where Jack finally comes face to face with Zayara Lemos, the person quietly helping orchestrate the entire operation from behind the scenes. Chavez eventually rescues Jack, and the team races to stop the bombs before they cross the US border. Jack, Greer, Mike, and Chavez track the explosives to a group of trucks and manage to stop the attack before it happens. Once again, they're faced with the realization that while one catastrophe is avoided, they're not done yet. Back in DC in front of Congress, Jack exposes Senator Henshaw, who ultimately helps create the perfect conditions that allowed the operation with the Triad to move forward. By the end of the season, Elizabeth is confirmed as CIA director. Chavez gets revenge on Zayara, and Jack makes a major choice. He resigns from the CIA. After 4 seasons of being pulled deeper and deeper into the fight, Jack finally steps away, choosing a life outside of the agency. But for how long? Whew, okay, alright. So where does that leave our American hero? Our office analyst is no longer confined by his office walls or CIA hierarchy. Now a free agent, having fully stepped away from his old life, there are still greater threats out there that will force Jack to leave his comfort zone once again. Premiering May 20th, Ghost War brings Jack right back into espionage after an international covert mission uncovers a deadly conspiracy. Mike, Greer, and Elizabeth Wright rejoin the team with Sienna Miller as MI6 officer Emma Marlowe. Craving even more CIA action and espionage? You can relive all these moments and more, Prime Video right now. See you next time!